morning. It's Sunday, July 23rd. And here's the question of the day. Why are so many workers going on strike these days, or threatening to strike? It seems to be an epidemic. The number of workers who went on strike since the beginning of the pandemic is doing nothing but climbing. And based on statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the number of workers who went on strike increased by over 50% in the year 2022, and it's rising again in the year 2023. And we have seen the Starbucks employees and the Hollywood writers walk off the job. And UPS workers and the United Airline pilots have voted to authorize strikes. So the ebbs and the flows of worker power generally move in the ebb and flow of the economy. History has shown that when there is a very strong economy, workers are more willing to walk off the job. And that's obvious because when the economy is strong, there are many more jobs available, so people are willing to take the chance of giving up their current job because they feel they can get one right away. And workers also have more bargaining power when the economy is strong because the employers need them more. It's hard to hire replacements. So if you're in a job, like the nurses in the hospital, for instance, and it's hard to replace you, then you have a lot of leverage as a worker, and you take advantage of that situation when you come face to face with it. And that's what workers realized when businesses really reopened after the pandemic. And it's still mostly the case now. The Federal Public Health Emergency Declaration has ended, but that doesn't mean that you can't take action. And the pandemic motivated strikes. COVID made a lot of essential workers feel underappreciated and made a lot of workers in general feel burnt out. So many people started rethinking the role of work in their lives. And then they started to take action. And that action hasn't stopped, even though the pandemic has receded to a point where we're no longer mask required, etc. A lot of people came out of the pandemic feeling they didn't necessarily want to take the usual crap on their job. And then if you looked around, many people who were working from home liked that, and they were very productive. And they have revolted against being called back to the office 5 days a week. So employers are bending the rules somewhat and are letting people work from home when they can, when your job is one that requires that you don't have to be in the office all the time. And public support can bolster. Public support can back worker confidence to move forward with a strike. Now, there's a very unusual situation going on in the United States right now. While American approval of labor unions is at more than 70% of the population, union memberships have steadily been declining. Many unions have gone out of business. I think the largest unions now exist in the government areas. And I remember when the Garment Workers Union was a powerful force in New York City. And if you were working in Midtown Manhattan in the 30s on the West Side, you belonged to the Garment Workers Union because that's where all the manufacturing, the clothing manufacturers were all in that area. But that union is gone. And it's gone because all of our clothing now is made overseas. How many of you have a shirt or a pair of pants or a suit that says made in the United States? No. All of that stuff is made in China or Malaysia or some other Far Eastern country. And I remember a period of time when a lot of stuff was said made in Japan, but that's not the case anymore either. So we have a situation now where the approval rate of unions is the highest that it has been in a long time. And that was a professor of labor and employment relations at Penn State who stated that. And he also said that the union support is strongest among Gen Z. Now, Gen Z are those people who are up to 26 years old. And I can't tell you why they're known as Gen Z. That's beyond my ken. So that's an indication that the workforce has an influx of young workers with much more diversity than they had when we were young people. And this brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the workforce. And so they are more likely to take action if they feel underappreciated and overworked. And it's a kind of energy and enthusiasm that extends beyond unions. It extends into the day-to-day living of people. And I haven't been out much since the pandemic ended, and I certainly haven't been hanging out with young people. But I know from looking at my grandchildren that they're excited about life, and my granddaughter has a great job, and my grandson is getting ready to go off to become an engineer and stuff, and their future is bright. And I think unions and the strikes improved the situation in this country, improved the workers' ability to feel useful. You know, if your unionized workers are going on strike and they get their demands of increased wages and certain benefits, then those effects spill over into the community. And people say, you know, it's not so bad going to work every day, and you got a fighting chance of improvement because of the union. So if a big airline or a restaurant chain improves working conditions and increases pay, other companies in those industries, while not being unionized or other things, recognize that they have to follow that situation. And when I went on strike, when I was a Nassau Community Adjunct Professor, we went on strike. We had no union. That strike created a union. And we went on strike because Ralph Caso, who was the Nassau County Superintendent, was appointing hacks to do our jobs. And while we could have been working in a given spot for 4 or 5 years, we were kicked out because of one of Caso's appointments. So we fought him, and we won, and we formed the Nassau County Community College Union. And as far as I know, it's still in existence today. And I still have my union sign from when I was standing on the picket line. So I've been involved in a strike that was wonderful. The end of it was wonderful, and it made Nassau Community College a better place. So I give you that. And I tell you, I am in favor of unions, and if a strike is necessary, go and do it. Have a great day. Take care.